Welcome back. This is Talk of the Nation, where we discuss the issues affecting the nation. The recent incident where gun-wielding men were recorded on video brutally arresting a member of the Uganda Young Democrats on Thursday last week is not an isolated incident. In April this year, Dr. Ismail Kalule, who has for long been on trial for terrorism, was rearrested by plainclothes operatives at the International Crimes Division of the High Court, who bundled him in a waiting van outside and then drove off. Now, in November 2017, Ahmed Semfuka, one of the suspects in the Kawesi murder case, who had been released on bail, was brutally arrested by plainclothes operatives near Nakawa Court. And all these incidents happened in broad daylight as people watch on. In all these incidents, the people being arrested are neither armed nor fighting back. The 2018 Q3 State of the Rule of Law report shows that the Uganda Law Society received increasing reports of torture, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. Now, joining us tonight to discuss this matter is the President of the Uganda Law Society, Simon Peter Chinowe. Welcome to NTV.
Thank you very much.
First things first, we want to understand, is the state responsible for the infringement of the mentioned constitutionally mandated human rights and freedoms?
I think yes, but also more importantly the individuals that perpetrate these crimes, because you see criminal acts are personal to holder. We've had people hiding behind the clout of the state, but when the law comes, it doesn't come for the state, it comes for the individuals that commit the crimes.
Okay. What justification would be there for, the law enforcers or security operatives to use this kind of force while, executing their duty?
The law generally says that you should use reasonable force. So it gives blanket authority to use reasonable force. But reasonable force has been interpreted in several cases. It's not a blanket authorization for you to act with impunity. And where a person surrenders, in fact, when a person surrenders, you're not even supposed to handcuff them, because they are willing to abide by your orders of arrest. And so any exertion of force in that circumstance would be an abuse of authority. It would tantamount to torture, contrary to Article 24 and Article 24 of the Constitution and Section 3 of the Prevention of Torture Act. So you're allowed to use force, but within the means of reasonableness.
Yeah, we have the issue of, people in plain clothes, wielding, weapons, guns of different makes. On several occasions, of course, carrying out these arrests. What kind of trend is this setting? Who is safe and who is not? We raised this issue a few months ago, saying that people who are conducting arrests should be in a position to identify themselves. And one of the formal ways of identification is the uniform you wear. Of course, there have been issues raised that some of the operations being conducted are secret operations. So if you come in uniform, then the alleged perpetrators will flee. But nonetheless, you have other forms of identification like your ID. We also have a feeling that because you see most of the men in arms have their names tagged to their uniforms, and it's becoming extremely inconveniencing to have your name associated with your impunity. So some of them are intentionally choosing not to wear their uniforms. But I think the time, because we're in an era of volatility where there is a lot of kidnapping, where there are issues of that kind, it's very important that security operatives identify themselves, and wearing a uniform would be one of the best ways so to do. All right. We have I just recall the issue of one person who died actually during an operation, Abdul Katerega, who was shot, and he died of gunshot wounds in Namongona. Whenever such things happen, of course, there's a lot of uproar on social media now, of course, which is acting as a watchdog. Security operatives or security agencies come out and deny, the knowledge of any of these people. In an example today, the people were quickly rounded up and taken to court silently, and then of course pictures were sent to the public later. But we saw the government spokesperson, the deputy Colonel Shaban Bantariza, responding to some people saying that these incidents should not be tagged to history. But of course we know that history repeats itself. He wants people to treat such incidents as, as they happen and as they come in. And his senior, Ofono Opondo, was saying these people will be found out. We don't know where they lie. Does this give space to the security agencies to probably run away from their own who are committing these wrongs? Because these people, while in court today, they said we were under instruction. Should it only be, the person who has effected that kind of order, or also the person giving the instruction?
Well, the two things. I think what my friend Bantariza and Ofono Opondo said is very unfortunate. We should stop politicking over issues of rule of law. We should stop politicking over issues of human rights, especially when they're clearly and categorically spelled out in the Constitution. This is not a political thing. It's unfortunate that those who, I haven't tested real war. I was being born when one was being fought. But those who have tested war, like our parents, were in shock when they saw some of these things, and to them it was a reminder of the past. Now, and that's why we need to be very sensitive and very active in guarding against a repeat of our history. Now, I heard one of the suspects saying that he was under instructions. Now, what we need to vet is what were the instructions. Did he go overboard, or did he act within? But also, even though you are under instructions, there are no instructions that should be followed that perpetrate impunity. The moment they tell you to kill or shoot an innocent person, you don't shoot because you are under instruction. The law protects you against such commands. And to our men in uniform, be ye aware that the moment you act outside the provisions of the law, you will be held personally culpable. You cannot say I was ordered. You will be held personally culpable, but we shall also go against your commanding officer. So if your commanding officer said shoot and you did not have the right to use that force, we'll go against you because you're criminally culpable, but also go against your commanding officer to answer for those crimes. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of legal proactiveness. We've already seen it. And we normally tell our people in the armed forces that if you do not discipline your own, we have mechanisms legal mechanisms to subdue them and bring them to book. And I'm glad that some of them have been produced in court. We are still demanding for many more to be produced in court, and will not sleep. We cannot allow ourselves to go back, to delve back into that dark part of our history.
When you talk about, ensuring that these officers are charged and held accountable for their actions, I read some of the comments from our viewers, and they were saying some people don't look like they are the ones in the video, but also they were saying this is kind of a hoodwink that, to try and show that these people have been brought to court, but we don't know what happens after that, or probably when will court sit again. I have an incident that I want to relate with this. The police officers who beat up Chiza Besigye supporters, back then, I covered the court process at the police headquarters in Naguru. Now, those people who were, of course, summoned and taken through the process of court. Some of them, the recommendation was that they never associate with police for about 20 years. But there are some people that, we meet when we go back to the police headquarters as of today, and they still do work with the police. Now, because this is out of the public picture, we don't know if, these people will be held accountable. Is it just a ploy to appease?
Well, there are two things. One, for those who think that these are not the people, please let us know who the people are, and we'll bring them to book. We've had discussions with the CDF, and I think he's committed to justice as regards to these individuals that committed this crime. So if they are not the ones, please let us know, and we'll ensure that the right people are charged. And if there is no traction on that, we as Uganda Law Society will take the necessary steps, number one. Number two, we've, one of the things that has become a good thing in this country is social media, because we can no longer now ignore facts that are happening. And we are now following some of these cases very closely to see what action is being taken. But additionally, we are pushing for civil action. If criminal sanction has been taken, we also want people to be held responsible civilly. Let's now start touching your money. When we go after your money, perhaps you'll think twice about the actions you partake. And I think that's what has been missing, that people have kept back and sat back and, thought that justice has been done. But now we need to also go after punitive damages, among others, to have reparation for torture victims. And I think that's the next arm that is going to be taken, that while you're facing your criminal charges, we will be pursuing you for civil remedies to ensure that you pay and that there is reparation for your crimes.
Thank you very much, yes. Simon Peter Chinowe, for joining us tonight. Simon Peter Chinowe is the president of the Uganda Law Society, and of course he was here to help us delve into discussion in this matter of human rights. That was Talk of the Nation. We'll take a short break and return with sport.
Excited? Are you excited? Like me? You should be, because for the 7th year running, Plus Campaigns and Win is back. What's this code doing here? We're not giving away goats or chickens or taxis.